Power has destroyed more souls than weakness ever could. In the ancient world, one man climbed so high that he believed the sky itself belonged to him. He was not merely a king. He was not merely a tyrant. He declared himself God, and Allah allowed him to rise. Only so his fall would echo through eternity. This is not mythology. This is not legend. This is the Quranic story of Pharaoh and the man who stood against him, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Brief pause. This is a warning written in blood and water. Chapter 1. The Throne of Arrogance. Egypt was not merely a kingdom. It was the axis of the ancient world, a civilization that commanded rivers, reshaped stone, and bent entire populations to its will. Its monuments pierced the sky, its armies crushed resistance, and its wealth dazzled the known world. Egypt did not follow history, it defined it. And at the very summit of this empire sat one man, Pharaoh. To neighboring nations, he was untouchable. To his people, he was more than a king. He was sacred. His image adorned temples. His name invoked fear. His word carried the weight of destiny. But power, when left unchecked, does not merely corrupt authority. It mutates the soul. Slowly, silently, Pharaoh's heart crossed a line no human was meant to approach. He no longer saw himself as a ruler chosen by circumstance. He no longer believed he governed by law or legacy. Pharaoh believed he ruled by divine right. He did not simply command Egypt. He colonized the minds of its people. Through propaganda, fear, and ritual, Pharaoh engineered a reality where questioning him felt like blasphemy. Truth was whatever he declared. Morality was whatever preserved his throne. And obedience was no longer loyalty, it was worship. Then came the words that shattered the boundary between man and madness. I am your highest Lord. Quran 79:24. This was not poetic exaggeration. This was not political symbolism. Pharaoh meant it. In his mind, the sun rose by his permission. The Nile flowed by his favor. Life itself existed under his command. To sustain this illusion of godhood, Pharaoh reshaped society with calculated cruelty. Egypt was split into rigid classes, masters and the mastered, rulers and the ruled. The elite lived in luxury, while entire populations were reduced to expendable tools. And at the very bottom stood Bani Israel. They built Egypt's glory with bleeding hands. They carried stones for monuments they would never enter. They lived long enough only to serve. Yet something terrified Pharaoh more than rebellion. Their growth. They multiplied. Their presence expanded. And in their numbers, Pharaoh saw a future he could not control. Fear began to whisper into his god complex. So he chose terror. Pharaoh issued a command so grotesque, so cold, that it echoed through generations as one of history's darkest decrees. Every newborn male child of Bani Israel was to be slaughtered. Not soldiers, not rebels, infants, babies ripped from their mother's arms, cries smothered beneath palace walls, blood spilled not for justice, but for paranoia. This was not security. This was systematic annihilation. Pharaoh believed this massacre would preserve his throne, that by killing the future, he could protect the present, that by silencing infants, he could silence destiny. But Pharaoh misunderstood a fundamental truth. You cannot murder a decree written by Allah. He thought this horror would save him. He was wrong. Chapter 2. The child he could not kill. Allah's plans do not hesitate. They do not panic. And they never tremble before tyrants. When power rises to challenge the divine, Allah does not rush to destroy it. He allows it to reveal its own weakness. In the very year Pharaoh unleashed genocide, when the streets echoed with the cries of slaughtered infants, when fear haunted every mother's breath, a child was born, not in secrecy, not in defiance, but under the watchful decree of Allah. His name would be Musa. His mother lived in constant terror, listening for soldiers' footsteps, knowing that discovery meant death. Yet in her desperation, Allah placed something extraordinary in her heart. Why? Divine inspiration. Not revelation like that of prophets, but certainty strong enough to overpower fear. She was commanded to do the unimaginable, to place her newborn son into a simple basket and surrender him to the Nile. This was not abandonment. This was absolute trust. The river that had swallowed the bodies of murdered children, the same river stained with injustice, now became the carrier of destiny. Every current was guided. Every ripple was measured. The Nile moved not by chance, but by command. And then, the impossible happened. The basket drifted toward the most dangerous place in Egypt, the palace of Pharaoh, the very heart of tyranny, the epicenter of oppression, the home of the man who ordered Musa's death. The guard saw the basket. The child was brought inside. And Allah sealed the moment with irony, so sharp it cuts through history. The enemy did not recognize the threat. The murderer did not recognize the future. Pharaoh, who believed himself God, took the child he was trying to eliminate and raised him under his own roof, fed him, protected him, educated him. This is how Allah dismantles arrogance. Not with noise, but with precision. Pharaoh sought to destroy Musa, yet unknowingly financed his survival. He trained the very man who would stand against him. He sheltered the voice that would shatter his illusion of divinity. Meanwhile, Pharaoh slept peacefully beneath his crown, convinced his power was secure, blind to the truth that destiny was growing inside his palace. Musa grew in strength, wisdom, and identity, while Pharaoh's empire marched silently toward its collapse. Because when Allah wills a plan, even the palace of a tyrant becomes the cradle of his downfall. Chapter 3. The Call at the Burning Fire. Years passed, and the palace that once raised Musa became a place he could no longer remain. A single moment, unintentional, yet irreversible, forced his departure. A man lay dead, not by malice, not by intention, but by fate. Musa fled Egypt not as a prince, but as a wanted man. He crossed borders stripped of status, stripped of protection, stripped of certainty. The one raised among marble halls now walked beneath open skies. The one groomed in power now lived in anonymity. Exile reshaped him. Years passed in silence. Years of labor, reflection, and humility. Musa tended sheep, learned patience, learned restraint. Power had once surrounded him. Now only wilderness remained. And it was there, far from palaces and politics, that Allah prepared him. Then came the night, a journey through darkness, cold winds, uncertainty pressing into every step. And suddenly, a fire, flickering in the distance on Mount Ar. Musa approached, seeking warmth, seeking guidance, seeking light. But it was not fire. It was revelation. The ground beneath his feet was declared sacred. The silence shattered, not with thunder, but with purpose. Allah spoke to Musa, not through dreams, not through intermediaries, not through angels, but directly, voice to soul, command to existence. In that moment, Musa was no longer a shepherd. He was chosen. Then came the mission that froze his breath. Go to Pharaoh. Indeed, he has transgressed, not to negotiate power, not to seek compromise, but to confront arrogance itself. Return to Egypt. Return to the throne that once raised you. Stand before the most powerful ruler on earth, and tell him that he is nothing but a servant of Allah. The weight of the command pressed heavy upon Musa's heart. He remembered Pharaoh's cruelty. He remembered the armies. He remembered his own weakness. Fear surfaced, not from lack of faith, but from human honesty. Musa spoke openly to his Lord. He feared his speech. He feared rejection. He feared retaliation. And Allah responded, not with anger, but with reassurance. I am with you. I hear and I see. Not I will be. Not I might be. I am. With those words, fear did not vanish, but courage was born. And so, armed not with weapons, not with soldiers, but with truth, a shepherd turned back toward civilization. A man walked toward tyranny. A servant of Allah stepped toward an empire. Because when Allah sends a message, even the greatest throne becomes fragile, and even the humblest man becomes unstoppable. Chapter 4. Truth versus Illusion. Musa stood before Pharaoh's court. Golden halls, armed guards, trembling elites. And he delivered a message that shattered silence. Worship Allah alone. Release Bani Israel. Pharaoh laughed. He accused Musa of sorcery. So he gathered Egypt's greatest magicians. A public showdown. When Musa threw his staff, it became a serpent, real, alive, terrifying. The magicians knew immediately. This was not illusion. They fell in prostration. Pharaoh erupted in rage. He threatened crucifixion. He promised mutilation. But the magicians had already seen truth. Do whatever you wish. You can only decree for this worldly life. In a single moment, Pharaoh lost more than control. He lost authority over belief. Chapter 5. The Plagues of Warning. Allah did not destroy Pharaoh immediately. He warned him. Again and again. Floods destroyed crops. Locusts devoured food. Lice infested homes. Frogs invaded beds. Water turned to blood. Each time Pharaoh begged Musa to pray. Each time relief came. Each time Pharaoh broke his promise. Arrogance does not learn. It delays until it drowns. Chapter 6. The Night of Escape. Allah commanded Musa to leave at night. Bani Israel fled Egypt. Fear in their hearts. Hope in their steps. Pharaoh awoke to humiliation. His slaves had escaped. Enraged, he pursued them with an army. They reached the sea. Mountains on one side. Death behind them. Water ahead. The people panicked. Musa said words that defined faith. No, my Lord is with me. He will guide me. Chapter 7. The Sea that Judged a God. Allah commanded Musa to strike the sea. The water split. Walls rose. A path formed. Bani Israel crossed safely. Pharaoh followed. Convinced, even nature obeyed him. Then Allah commanded the sea. Close. Pharaoh drowned. His godhood collapsing into salt and silence. As death reached his lungs, he declared belief. But belief at drowning is rejected. Allah preserved his body. A lesson on display for generations. Final warning, the Pharaoh in every era. Pharaoh is dead, but Pharaoh-like arrogance lives on. Every tyrant who mocks truth. Every soul drunk on power. Every heart that says, I answer to no one. This story is not ancient. It is ongoing. And the question remains, when truth stands before you, will you bow like the magicians or drown like Pharaoh? Subscribe to Twisted Chapter, where forgotten warnings are revived and truth is told without fear.